He knew that a moment had come. He secretly called on the palace power brokers one by one. He won over the chief eunuch with the promise of new positions. He then gathered the Varangian Guard and told them about the emperor's intention and convinced them to consider taking as the right action that which was desirable and pleasing to the Byzantines. Finally, he went to deal with Alexius. According to Choniatus, in the dead of night, on January 27th, he burst into the emperor's chamber, informing him that the Varangian Guard was amassing at the door, ready to tear him apart because of his friendship with the hated Latins. Terrified, confused, and barely awake, Alexius begged for help. Murtzouphlis threw a robe over the emperor by way of disguise, led him out through a little-used door to safety, with the emperor gabbling pathetic thanks, and threw him, chained by the legs, into the most awful of prisons. Murtzouphlis donned the imperial regalia and was proclaimed emperor. In the swirling confusion, there were now 4 emperors in the city. The blind Isaac, Alexius IV Angelus in prison, Alexius V Murtzouphlis in the palace, and Canavus as the plaything of the mob in Hagia Sophia. The elaborate dignity of the great empire had completely collapsed. Murtzouphlis moved fast to clear up the mess. When the Varangian Guard burst into Hagia Sophia, Canavus's protectors simply melted away. On February 2nd, the innocent young noble, apparently a man of integrity and talent, was taken off and decapitated. On February 5th, Alexius V Murtzouphlis was crowned in Hagia Sophia with the customary splendor. The blind Isaac, when he was told of the palace coup, was seized by terror and conveniently died, or he may have been strangled. Outside the walls, the news of the coup was greeted as final proof of Byzantine duplicity. Murtzouphlis was not a legitimate emperor. He was a usurper, and a bloodthirsty one at that. According to the more lurid accounts, when he captured 3 Venetians, he had them hung up by iron hooks and roasted alive. With our men looking on, and they could not be spared from such a horrible death by any prayer or payment. More prosaically, he cut off the Crusaders' food supply. The change of regime returned the Crusaders to a state of chronic need. Once again, one of the sources records, there was a time of much scarcity within our ranks, and they ate many horses. The prices in the camp were so high, reported Clary, that a sestiere of wine was sold there for 12 sous, 14 sous, even at times 15 sous, a hen for 20 sous, and an egg for 2 cents. The Crusaders embarked on another extensive raid to provision the army. They attacked the town of Philia on the Black Sea, and were returning on February 5th with booty and cattle when Murtzouphlis, whose support now rested on the pledge rapidly to drive the Latins into the sea, rode out to intercept them. He took with him the imperial banner and a precious miracle-working icon of the Virgin, one of the most revered relics of the city, whose presence ensured victory in battle. In a fierce clash, the Greeks were rebuffed and the icon captured. Murtzouphlis rode back with a report that the battle had been won. Questioned as to the whereabouts of the icon and banner, he became evasive, declaring that they had been put away for safekeeping. The following day, in an attempt to humiliate the upstart emperor, the Venetians put the imperial and sacred items on a galley and sailed up and down along the city walls, taunting him with their trophies. When the Greeks saw this, they turned on the new man. Murtzouphlis remained resolute. "Don't be dismayed, for I will make them pay heavily, and will fully avenge myself on them." He was already being backed into a corner. A day later, February 7th, Murtzouphlis tried a different tack. He sent messengers to the Crusader camp to ask for a parley at a site up the Golden Horn. Dandolo again had himself rowed across in a galley, while a party of horsemen came around the top of the horn for extra security. Murtzouphlis rode up to meet the Doge. The Crusaders now felt no hesitation in speaking plainly to one who had, according to Baldwin of Flanders, shut up his lord in prison and had snatched away his throne after having disregarded the sanctity of an oath, fealty, and a covenant, matters that are firmly binding even among infidels. Dandelo's requests were blunt. Release Alexius from prison. Pay 5,000 pounds of gold. Swear obedience to the Pope in Rome. To the new anti-Western emperor, these conditions were, of course, punitive and completely unacceptable. While they were engrossed in these negotiations, putting aside all other thoughts, the Crusader cavalry suddenly bore down on the emperor from the higher ground. Giving free rein to their horses, they closed on the emperor, who wheeled his horse and scarcely managed to escape the danger, while some of his companions were captured. This treacherous ruse confirmed what Choniatus and the Greeks